Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to give a quick definition of federalism and make sure we know the distinction between federalism, federalist, and federal. Very easy thing to get confused on. Okay, so federalism. Federalism is the type of government that the United States has. It is a divided government between a national level and a state level. What this means, what federalism means here, is that the national level of government, the top level of government, has some powers and some responsibilities. Okay? But there's also a state level of government, or another lower level of government, that has powers and responsibilities that maybe the federal government doesn't have, the national level government doesn't have. A way to maybe contrast this so that you can get an understanding of what it is, there's something called the unitary government, which means there's more or less only one government, a national government. England, for example, has a unitary government. Now, obviously, there are cities and things like that in England. Um, the unitary government doesn't mean that there aren't other political entities like cities or counties or things like that. It just means that all the power, political power in the country rests with the national level of government, and the national government will divide out that power as it sees fit to smaller entities. In our federal system, we have essentially two separate layers of government that each have their independent area of authority. The national government, which has, again, a area that it has authority over, it has political power in, and the state government, and it has its own areas of political power. Our Constitution says that there must be both the national government and state governments. Okay? To maybe also further clarify this, to offer another piece of information. In the United States, we have cities and counties and towns. All of us more than likely live in a county or city. However, those counties and cities don't have any right to exist. What I mean by this is they're not in the Constitution. They are creations of each individual state, and the states could at any point eliminate any county or city. The cities and counties in North Carolina, for example, only have the power that North Carolina gives them. North Carolina will say, okay, Charlotte, you can set up a city here, and Charlotte, here's your city charter. Here are the things that you have authority to do. At any point in time, the state could come in and take over any of those areas of authority it gave to Charlotte. So while we would think of at the state level, power being divided between states and cities, it's really not. All the power is with the state government, and it only gives or sort of contracts out that power to other political entities in the name of, say, efficiency or localism or something like that. But in our federal government, the federal government has powers and the state government has powers that the two can't necessarily, that they don't need to farm out to a lower or different entity. Okay? So that's federalism. The very long definition, short definition, a system of divided government with a national level and a state level. Okay, that's federalism. Now, federalists, federalists. These are people that supported the Constitution. The Federalists were a political party in the 1780s, 1790s to 1820s-ish. They had presidents and congresspeople and things like that. They were people, again, federalists, that supported the Constitution. Federalists is not the same as federalism. Federalism is the system of government. Federalists are people / a political party. The name difference between the two is one letter. Federalism has an M at the very end of it. Federalists has a T at the end of it. Now, one other thing, there's federal. Okay, federal government. The federal government. Federal. Federal or federal government is the national level of government, the top level of government. The federal government is not the same as saying federalism, which is the system of government. Within a federalism system, you have a federal level of government. You have a federal government, a national government. But if you were to see, say, on an exam or in the book or in a newspaper that says the federal government did XYZ, they're talking about the national level of government, not the system of government where there are divided powers. When you see federalism written somewhere, they're not talking about the national level of government. Federalism didn't do, if a paper said federalism did XYZ policy, that doesn't make sense because federalism is not the same as the federal government. Federalism is just a system of government. Clear, kind of? Let that sink in for a second. And then Federalists, political party that supported the Constitution. You also had the Anti-Federalists. That helps you remember. Anti-Federalists opposed the Constitution in the 1790s and later on. The Anti-Federalists opposed the Constitution. The Federalists supported the Constitution. Federalism is a system of divided government, and federal is the national government. You can use national government, federal government interchangeably. All right, so that's what federalism is, and keep that distinction in mind between those three words, federal, federalism, and federalist. Cool.